Good morning and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearings for Rural Panel 3. We are a City of Ottawa quasi-judicial tribunal that holds public hearings to consider Planning Act applications, including minor variances to the zoning requirements and consents to sever land. Our hearings are now in person at Ben Franklin Place, 101 Centerpoint Drive. We also enable remote participation by video conferencing for our registered speakers. We are live streaming on YouTube and the video will be archived and available for future viewing by the public. My name is Martin Vervoort. I'll be chairing today's hearings and you can address me by my name or as chair. And with me are my fellow panel members, Jocelyn Chandler to my left, Beth Henderson to my right, and Gary Duncan to my far right. As well, Terry Otto is participating today remotely. The procedure for the hearings will be as follows. Listed on the agenda and appearing on screen from time to time are the applications we'll hear today. For the sake of efficiency, I may deal with agenda items in a different order. Panel members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support of or in opposition to each of the applications. Today we'll hear any oral submissions required relating to the applications. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant was required to post a sign on the property in question before the hearing. They also had to confirm in writing that they did so, or they will need to swear or affirm an oath today that they fulfilled the sign posting requirements. Otherwise, we may have to adjourn or postpone the hearing. The panel may ask for a brief presentation of an application followed by questions for the applicant and city planning staff. We will then hear from members of the public who have registered to speak, and we may also have questions for them. Finally, the applicant who has the burden of proof will have the opportunity to make final comments and reply. Please address your comments to me as the chair, starting with your name and spelling if necessary, and your municipal address for the record. All presentations are limited to 5 minutes. Any exceptions will be at my discretion. At the end of the hearing, the panel may either make an oral decision or we may reserve our decision, which means it won't be delivered today. In either case, within 10 days, the Committee of Adjustment will send the official written decision and reasons for it to all the parties, participants, and anyone else who has requested a copy. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure we will be following today? I see no questions. Okay. All right, then we have several applications to hear today, but first we'll need to deal with some preliminary and procedural matters. Do any members of the panel have declarations of interest with respect to any matters before us today?
No.
Mr. Otto, none? Okay,
None.
Thank you. Next, we have to confirm the minutes of the previous meetings of May the 6th and May the 20th. First, with respect to May 6th, any objections or are the minutes approved? Approved. For the minutes of May 6th, they're approved. And with respect to May 20th, any comments or changes?
None.
None?
None. Approved.
Minutes. So the minutes of the meeting of May the 20th are also approved. Thank you. Now, with respect to, there is an adjournment request on application number 2, but I'm going to change the order slightly because we do have 2 fast track applications that we can probably deal with quickly. And the first one is agenda item number 1 concerning the property at 4224 Sarsfield Road. And the applicants are R and K Neely. I believe they are here in person today. Mr. Neely, would you like to come forward? Sure, have a seat. And if you don't mind turning on the mic and just confirming your name and address, thank you. Yes.
My name is Robert Neely, and my address is 4224 Sarsfield Road, Navan, Ontario.
Okay. And my understanding is that this is a straightforward lot line adjustment. There are no concerns from the planning department, and I believe you are agreeable to the conditions. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, then I'd like to ask if there are no questions from any members of the panel, I'd like to ask for a fast track approval of this application. All in favor? So your application is approved. Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Thanks.
The next item, which is up for fast track approval, is 6060 First Line Road. And I believe the agent on this is Catherine Curry. Is that correct? Ms. Curry, I understand this is also we can fast track this application. You have no objection to the conditions proposed by planning?
Correct, thank you.
Okay. Do any members of the committee have any questions regarding this application?
Nope.
Then I'd like to ask for approval of this application as well. All those in favor? So your application is approved. Thank you. Now, we do have an adjournment request with respect to agenda item number 2, which is the property at 3970 Stonecrest Road. I believe the agents on that are D and K Johnson, if we have them available. Are we able to connect?
Mr. Johnson appears to be online. He should be able to speak.
Yes, I am now on and I now have audio, I believe, folks. Thank you.
Pardon? I was unable to hear that, sorry.
I am now online and I now have audio, so I believe we are good to go.
Okay, thank you. So I'm not sure if you're aware of the comments, Mr. Johnson, but the Ottawa Septic Office has advised that the survey plan you prepared, I think it shows the approximate location of the septic system, but they're looking for a professional engineer to locate the exact location of the system with respect to the property line. And I don't know what your position is with respect to that. I guess my only comment would be if it's found that the septic is not in the location indicated on the plan of survey that you provided, then you would have to come back and possibly apply for a change of condition or reconfigure the lot lines, which may result in further delays. One option is to adjourn this matter for a period of a couple of weeks and get that sorted out. I'm not sure what your response to that is.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members. We're having some difficulty with this because do you mind if I go through a little bit, a very brief bit of the history, about 30 seconds?
Yeah, if we can make it quick, because we're just addressing the adjournment request. So.
Yeah, so this, we are back to see you today because of a lapse on this. So we have gone through the full process with this. We've done EIS, we've done hydro-G studies, we've completed everything, including cash in lieu of parkland. The survey is done. The lot lines, the survey has been deposited. The lot lines are defined. So basically what happened with this is the legal department at the city gave us 10 days to complete everything with our lawyer and the bank, and that was not possible. So we are simply back to gain enough time to complete things with the bank and the lawyer. So I'm just wondering, on round one, the Conservation Authority had no comments on the septic. It was accepted. The drawing that we provided was accepted, and there were no issues at all. So, now we've got a different set of eyes looking at it, and I'm just wondering whether, the kind of the horse is out of the barn at this point.
I can't speak to for the septic office, but it may be it won't result in a big delay. But if we adjourn the matter for a couple of weeks, I would give you a chance to probably try and sort things out with the septic office, and then you could proceed to finalize everything fairly quickly.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm not opposed to that. I guess where the opposition comes in is, we now have another $6,500 charge to reapply. And the quote yesterday was an additional $2,000 to create this drawing. You know, we do have to locate the septic initially. You know, holes were dug, the surveyor was there, he marked the corners of the septic system, and he put it on the draft R plan. So, you know, I'm not opposed to the delay. I'm just not pleased with it.
I believe Member Chandler has a comment.
If that was the case, I would suggest that you take the delay and you bring that documentation to the septic office, ask to speak to the chief building official who comments on this information and have that discussion directly with him. The alternative, without a delay, is you could lose your severance like that you require here because you simply cannot have a septic system that is too close to the lot line. But I wouldn't undertake that work until you'd had a conversation with the septic office and explained what you just explained to us.
Through you, Mr. Chair, understood that conversation has happened, and they are adamant that they are looking for this very expensive drawing. So, okay, we will agree with the delay, and we will go and spend the money.
So I guess the question is, how long do you think it'll take to complete this? We have our next upcoming meetings are July the 8th and July the 15th.
Let's go with the July the 15th, just to be sure.
Mr. Chair, sorry, it's July 8th and July 22nd.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
The 22nd is just
July
fine with me. Let's just make sure we have lots of time.
Okay. The other comment that I would just note is I don't believe we had a statutory declaration on file. So if we could have that filed before the next when this matter is brought back on July the 22nd, that would complete the file as well.
Mr. Chair, yes, we will make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, sorry, we do have a speaker online who has their hand raised. Mr.
Okay.
Bono.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Chair. So will we submit any concerns that we have? We're the neighbor at 4,000 Stonecrest Road at the next meeting or now?
You can submit your concerns, but the merits of the hearing will be heard on the 22nd of July.
So you're saying I can submit them now?
You can submit any comments you have to the committee at any time.
Okay.
And if you wish to speak to the matter on the 22nd, when the application is heard, you can contact the committee and they'll register you as a speaker
Okay.
for the matter.
Yeah, because our main concern is just maintaining the waterways, because we don't want anything altering the way the water comes into our property, because we have a pond, and if they change the grade of the property on their side, it could alter the flow of the water into a different area on our property.
So certainly you can speak to that when the matter is heard on July the 22nd.
Perfect.
And if you have concerns, you can also speak to the applicants if that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if they could submit the comments in writing to the committee inbox at cofa@ottawa.ca, that would be appreciated before the next hearing.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
cofa@ottawa.ca.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'll ask for approval to adjourn this matter until the meeting of July the 22nd. All those in favor? So the matter is adjourned to July the 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is agenda item number 4 concerning the property at 11 Turtleback Way. And I believe the agent on that is C. McQuaig.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of committee. Christine McQuaig, Q9 Planning and Design.
Thank you. I know there's some concerns from neighbors on this, so I think it probably would be prudent to have you just go through a very brief presentation of the application and what relief you're looking for.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The application is for a minor variance at 11 Turtleback Way, which was previously known as 11 Meadowland Way. The variance is for a reduced lot width to 15.76 meters. If you could skip to the next slide, please. The lot width of 15.76 meters was actually approved in 2013 and the lot was created. At the time when the minor variance was approved for the new lot, the plans that were proposed was a 2-story residential building. Those plans were tied to the variance that was approved. We did have consultations with city legal staff whether we could move forward with a building permit for different designs for a 1-story residential building. But as the minor variance was tied to the plans, we had to come back to Committee of Adjustment to essentially re-request the minor variance for reduced lot width in accordance with the new plans that are submitted. So despite the fact that the lot has already been created, being 15.76 meters, we still have to come back to tie that variance to the new plans for the 1-story building. If you can just flip to slide 7 quickly, please. Just flip one back. And so just to be clear, the new 1-story detached dwelling is zoning compliant with regards to all setbacks. So in the kind of zoomed out version on the right side of the site plan, you can see a dashed line. That is the sort of existing approved buildable envelope for the zoning performance standards. And so as you can see that the proposed 1-story dwelling fully fits within that. It is zoning compliant from all yard setbacks. So essentially the request here today is to permit a reduced lot width, despite the fact that it's existing, of 15.76 meters for the new building design plans. We are also aware of the 2 resident comments that have been submitted and the concerns that they raised, and I did respond to both residents that have submitted comments and explained the history of the application and the fact that it was severed, but then subsequently sold as well. So it's new owners that are proposing a new home design.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. McQuaid? Okay, comments from planning, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no concerns with this application, seeing as how the minor variance for lot width was applied for and approved back during the lot creation. I know it was tied to plans, but this is just seeking to legalize essentially an existing situation, so we have no concerns.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of planning? No? I believe we have 2 registered speakers who wish to speak to this matter. I believe the first one is Mr. Jadon Freeland. I'm not sure if he's online.
Yes, Mr. Chair, he's online.
Mute. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes. Just state your full name and address for the record, please. Could you just state your full name and address for the record, please?
Perfect. Hi, my name is Jadon Freeland. I'm the owner at 15 Bray Crescent.
Okay, and you have some submissions to make with respect to this?
Yes, the first concern that I have in regards to this building was the removal of a mature tree to allow for this site plan to be possible. There was a mature old growth tree that resided on the property line where the split occurred between part 1 and part 2 of lot 14. This tree was removed without a permit, and it was removed over the weekend when no action could be taken by me to stop the removal of this tree. Following the removal of the tree, I put a request into the city of Ottawa through bylaw to request forestry to make an examination. I didn't get a follow-up on that. I called back in to get an update, and they basically said that the case had been closed and they weren't sure why it had been closed, but no follow-up had been provided. So my concern is that the new owner of this property came in and has been, I guess, simply unneighborly. They've been rather hostile and aggressive with regards to their intention with the lot. And I'm not opposed to seeing a home built here. I'm just opposed and concerned with the actions and the course that they have taken to get to this point. So as stated, I was previously unaware of the approved plan for another home to be built there. And I'm curious whether or not it took into consideration the trees that resided on that property. Essentially, they had come into this space and they have clear cut the entirety of the lot. Alongside that mature growth, which I know has protections in Ottawa, there were many other trees that divided our two properties, which provided privacy protection, a natural habitat. And when I opposed this removal, they just became hostile and said, it's on my property. I have my own right to do whatever I want. And basically, that was the end of their conversation with me. They then proceeded to remove it all and have continued to insist that they had done a survey themselves and that it was done officially. But with this submission, they submitted the same survey that I received when I purchased the property, dating back to 2013. So I'm just curious whether or not there was a variance there. And then I have other concerns in regards to their actual intention, which may be contrary to the actual rights that they may own, which is, it doesn't feel like they're looking to move in, become a part of the community, as they've come in and destroyed the character that kind of existed there. But given their business being realtors and running a business in Stittsville, it appears that they're just trying to come in, take this lot, clear it, build a home, and then sell it for profit, not really having disregard to the action that they're doing along the process. And that really summarizes my concerns for this bill.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from members of the committee regarding these submissions? Just a question with respect to the tree removal, Mr. Freeland. When did that occur?
That occurred in September of 2024.
September of when?
2024, last year.
I can't hear.
2024.
2024? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Alrighty.
And I have the reference numbers for.
I would just note with respect to that comment, the only matter really before the committee today is with respect to the variance required for the lot width, which is an existing lot, but the committee is aware of the requirements of the tree protection bylaw, et cetera. So,
of course. And that stems to my concern is the home that was originally approved there. I'm just curious whether the footprint took into consideration the old growth trees that existed, where the proposed plan is that the home, that the footprint of it clearly is required to go over top of where that tree was. So they kind of flew by night, came in, removed the tree, and then made this submission for this home that had disregard to where that tree used to stand.
okay. Thank you very much. Your comments are noted and will be taken into consideration.
Thank you for your time, Chair.
We also have one further speaker who is registered, Mr. Dan Bonneau.
No, Mr. Chair, that was for a previous application.
Pardon me?
That was for the previous
Oh,
application.
sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. In that case, we would ask for a response from Ms. McQuaid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When I was brought onto the file at the time, the trees were already removed. I'm not aware of what process was taken to undertake the removal of those trees. The only thing I can comment on is that if the City of Ottawa responded that the case had been closed, my expectation is that they potentially did get the correct approvals at the time, but I don't know for certain. At the time that I was brought on to secure the updated minor variance, the trees were already removed at that time.
Thank you. Any final questions or comments from any members of the panel?
Would I be able to, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, normally there wouldn't be a further response. The applicant has the last chance to respond. But,
okay, there was some misinformation presented there, but
I am just going to comment that mature tree removals are dealt with through the building permit process. So if a tree was removed illegally, or if someone is applying to remove a tree, the city has a process by which they sometimes take deposits for replanting, and that may be the case on this property, but it's not something that the committee has access to or is able to weigh in on as part of this type of application.
Okay, if that's it, then what we'll do is we'll reserve our decision on this matter. The parties will be informed of will receive a copy of our written decision, which will be issued within 10 days from the date of this hearing. Thank you. And the last application we have today is concerning the property at 1981 Century Road. And this is with respect to a minor variance regarding a proposed site plan application, and I believe Ms. McQuaig is also on this application. Is that correct?
I am, yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And I believe you were before us before on this matter. It was adjourned. And now there's been a revision to the site plan. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So just before we start, just so we have it clear on the record, so the change now is that the applicant seeks the committee's authorization for a minor variance from the zoning bylaw to permit 188 parking spaces, whereas the bylaw requires 305 parking spaces. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you want to speak very briefly to this then?
Sure, Mr. Chair, thank you. So the application is currently undergoing site plan control approval. And that is the change to the variance. There is also the permission application as well, as part of this overall application. So the site plan control application that's ongoing, we received comments from city staff. This resulted in what was potentially a future phase 2 expansion at the back of the church being counted as part of this site plan approval. And so the additional sort of phase 2 of the church required 20 additional parking spaces. So they modified the parking lot to add the 20 parking spaces. So the net change, there was no change in terms of the parking lot being short a total of 117 spaces between when we were here before and when we were here today. And the permission application is simply to formalize the permission of the place of assembly being a primary use. That was the case prior to amalgamation, and we have provided the documentation for that as well. We've reviewed, both relevant sections of the Planning Act with respect to the minor variance request as well as the permission application. And we respectfully submit that it is in accordance with the Planning Act, meets the 4 tests, meets the test for the permission application as well. And that this will support a really great community use for the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from planning, Mr. Tieft?
Yes, Chair, no comments really from us. We had some discussion with the applicant regarding the provided parking and basically the configuration of the uses on the space, and we're in agreement that this is considered minor and supportable.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from members of the committee? None, Mr. Otto?
No.
Okay, so thank you very much. We'll reserve on this matter, and again, our decision will be issued shortly.
Thank you
very much. And that concludes the public portion of our meeting today. Thank you, everyone, for participating.